Welcome back to Man Crossing New Horizons. I'm Dear Darling, as you see what's going on on our lovely island of Fawnhollow today, where it looks like it's a fishing tourney, which we are probably going to ignore because that's who we are. No, I'm joking. Mainly because we've done a fishing, it's like, we've had like 12 fishing tourneys on live. How many fishing tourneys do you really need? That's not actually a reason this is, it's kind of boring to grind out, and since we already grinded out over rewards, we don't need to anymore. But I don't think people really are here for the Animal Crossing. Let's get straight into a conversation. This is, me just buying time because I'm opening up my photo album, because I'm just like, what conversation topic can I get onto next, following on from whatever I talked about yesterday. I think it was like fruit juice or something. But anyway, hello everyone. Excuse me. Right now in Fawnhollow, it's 5:21 p.m. on Saturday, April 8th, 2023. Spring fishing tourney, which we have promptly ignored. Orange juice. Road trips? Have I talked about road trips before? That's good. I don't know. Oh, have I renamed today's episode of Here Comes Nico? I have. Okay, that's good, because that comes out in like 40 minutes. So let's see. Road trip. No, I haven't talked about road trips. Interesting. I mean, I feel like I already kind of talked a lot about it in the caravan thing, so maybe we should just like skip this one and come back to it at a different point. Like, what else can I say about road trips? That's not necessarily fair. Like, when I was younger, certainly I've been on some road trips before as well. Not like huge ones, but like we, as a family, we drove to like Wales, we drove to like Scotland. Not me, obviously, because I was like 8 or something. I definitely could not be behind the wheel at that point. Or if I could, my parents would probably be a little bit irresponsible, I would wager. I also swear I heard a flea, but I didn't see a villager nearby, the nearest one being Raymond, who doesn't have a flea on him, so I don't know. But yeah, obviously, if you don't know what the whole current arc is I'm talking about my trip I went on holiday like a month ago now, and we've basically only gotten past the first 2 days of conversations, but we rented out a caravan and basically drove around the place, and drove around Spain, around sort of the east coast of Spain, and in a caravan, yeah, and he had to drive a caravan, or motorhome, technically, he had to drive the motorhome from place to place. There was 4 of us. I can't drive, neither can one of my friends, but 2 of my other friends can drive, and they did, obviously, all the driving, because, again, it's not really the time to be like, hey, dear darling, why don't you learn to drive in, like, 20 seconds, and also, like, on the wrong side of a road, in a different country. Not a great idea, surprisingly, unsurprisingly. So yes, big thank you to my friends for driving and all that, and a big thank you to my friends in general, to be honest. They're pretty awesome people. But yeah, so talking about like road trips and stuff, I don't know, road trips always kind of, like, I always have this weird sort of fascination, which I always talk about, not fascination necessarily, but part of me, for some reason, really enjoys that sort of like in-between period, that sort of transitional journey traveling period of a holiday. For whatever reason, I think I disproportionately like it more than the average person, and I've really got no good reason as to why, because it's not like it's most stimulating thing in the world. I guess, maybe it's one of the times I can like, I'm like, yes, this is my time to relax, because there's literally nothing else I can be doing at this moment. When you're in transit, there's only so much you can do, to be honest. I mean, I talked about it a lot before. I tend to keep myself quite busy, and then even when I'm on holiday, I'm like, I want to do things. And I know, I can't remember, like it was a month ago I had this conversation. I've also switched that to the pink and green Joy-Cons, which is why the cursor's going crazy. But how I often sort of just like, I'm like, I'm not sure if I know how to properly relax properly, which is, weird to think about, but it's kind of true the more I think about it. But I guess it's kind of like, in those moments of transits, you literally can't do anything but relax, to be honest. Like, I mean, obviously, if I was driving, that would not be the case, to be perfectly honest. Driving, I'm not going to say it's stressful necessarily. I mean, everyone finds it different amounts of, well, stress wasn't really the word I was going for, but everyone finds, everyone's attitude, I suppose, to driving is very different. Me, myself, I'm not like particularly, it's not like I love the idea of driving or hate the idea of it particularly. I don't think I see it more than something which I have to do, but I'd rather not do if need be, because I prefer public transport, I suppose. It's like, I don't know. It's less concentration. I think I'm coming to realise the reasons I like these like travelling periods and these transit periods so much is it's my brain like being like, all right, this is your time to relax, like properly. Not when I'm like sleeping or anything. Like sleeping obviously is a relaxed time for everyone, but instead of just sort of like sitting there being like chilling, other people Netflix and chilling. Well, I guess that has a different connotation, but Netflix, binge watching or whatever. or just chilling out on a sofa, which I tend to not really do all that much. It's like travel time, this is your time. And, I guess it is rewarding in its own, not rewarding in its own sense, but it's rejuvenating in its own sense, which, if anything, I suppose probably points to the fact I need to relax better. But that's not really what we're here going for, a deep dive. We're not here to, do therapy or something. Not that I really think I have not really think I have a problem with speaking, apparently. Not that I really think I have a problem with not being able to relax in the first place, I suppose. Just, probably I'm worse at it than the average person, is my guess. But in these, like, sort of transitional periods in travelling, I suppose it's like, it is just a nice time to relax. Again, if you're not driving, like I was not. So, it's a privilege to say. But even that, or like the airport, like just waiting out of a bus station, even like when you're taking long train journeys, I don't know. I guess I just find it kind of relaxing. I'm very much someone who likes to get lost in their own thoughts, like all the time. My mind is a absolute hive mind of is a busy hive of ideas and things buzzing about all the time. So I suppose leaving time to myself to sort out my thoughts, to think about things, to like step back, relax, reflect is always very nice. And I suppose driving, I think, is also strongly nostalgic for me at the same time. You know how much I love my nostalgia for like these holidays we used to go on, of course, when I was younger, and when with my family, like to like caravan parks and random places. Like I think we drove to like really random cities all around UK just to like stay for like a weekend or something. Not like all the time, I'm going to be honest. It was probably like maybe a couple times a year or something, but they were fun times. There were times and memories I treasure as a child, even though of course they all sort of blend together in my mind. I don't quite differentiate what we did at each area, and I don't really remember all too well. I don't know, that sort of feeling, that emotion you have, that you felt during those times, of things I remember more than necessarily the specific details. So I guess that's kind of like why I liked it so much. It's just like, it's like how in a video game or like in a movie or in any sort of series or media property, you need to have highs and lows of excitement levels, up and down and up and down. Otherwise you have just too much going on all the time. Not some people like that, I'm sure. And honestly, I would put myself in that category, I think, maybe. Well, maybe not like full on excitement, but doing things, I suppose, all the time. But you got to have a balance of things, up and downs, because then the downs make the up feel even more, hype. And the downs give you energy for the ups as well. And the ups, of course, are the fun parts, probably. But being able to remember the big and extreme moments, I suppose, I feel like it's just as important as being able to remember the moments which are much more subdued and much more quiet. Because they both have... What on earth am I clicking? They both have good memories that can be tied to them, I suppose. Like, what other things do I randomly remember from a trip? Like one of my friends just buying a load of crisps. We had a huge amount of crisps which we ate during the transit times. All the random songs which we played via Spotify and all that. It is a like a group playlist we had, which everyone contributed some. I contributed a little bit, not too much, to be honest, because I don't know. I've got my own songs which I have my own personal taste for, and I'm like, my friends don't always want to listen to them, but just like sprinkle them in every now and then. We spent a lot of time on the road, so it's always good fun. Things are sort of flying all about the place in the caravan sometimes, especially on that first trip where we would, obviously things, we were like, in our mind, things need to be secured, but it didn't really occur to me that, the water bottle, which is on the counter behind me, would go flying across the motorhome when we go driving. Like the pit stops at the petrol stations, like all these really random ones, especially because we did a lot of driving at night time, felt like very, not nostalgic, but this is like a combination of the things that I was talking about before, like the caravan episode, the liminal spaces episode. It's all combining together. Like I remember this one time we stopped off at a petrol station, and it was, of course it was always nighttime, but it was always like pouring down, it was chucking down, it was so heavy, and it was like one of a few petrol stations which was open at that time. We got there, and then there was just like one person there, and it looked like a horror movie is probably what I'd say. Not like there was blood and splatter everywhere or anything, but more like the fact it was like dark, like flickering lights. It was so stormy. We were just like wayward travelers in a country where we don't technically speak the language, and there was just like one gas station attendant. So American. I don't even know, because we don't... Petrol station attendant? That doesn't even sound right to me for some reason. I guess because we don't really have attendants in petrol stations in the UK normally. We just have the shop clerk, I suppose, in the what are they called? In the little shop next to it. They have a name. I can't remember the name off the top of my head. yeah, like it just really felt like it was out of a horror movie. Or like, was there a time where we stayed at a petrol, not stayed, but we stopped over at a petrol station to get some fuel, and then like my friend was like, whoa, they have like window cleaners here, and he like cleaned the windows. And he was so excited about it the entire time. That was really fun. Well, other times I didn't really get out the motorhome all that much, I suppose, when we stayed at a petrol station, because I was like, I mean, they got the refueling down, I don't really want any snacks. So most of the times in the petrol stations, I just like spent the time cleaning up. Like, there was quite a few times when we stayed at a petrol station, I just like did the dishes, like from breakfast that morning or something, or from dinner or something like that. Or I'd reorganise things, because I don't know. We all play to our strengths around here. That's just how life is. Or the random things we see here and there, you know. There's also this fantastic time where maybe it's not so fantastic for my friend, but you know, my friend used the motorhome's bathroom, and then we started driving and whatnot, and then like we just like smelled, was like horrible like smell. We just like, is this what it's going to smell like every single time someone uses a bathroom in here? And then he was very insistent the entire time, going, it's not me, guys, it's outside. And we were like, and it actually was outside. It was actually because we were passing by like some place which had like a load of manure or something, like farmland or something. But just the incredible timing, I suppose, of that happening just made us go, how could this happen? Honestly, the bathroom is actually pretty good. Like, I don't think we smell anything from the bathroom, to be honest, because if you don't know this, I learned this in motorhome as well. It's the similar thing to, I think, porta potties, is that you had to add this like blue chemical thing, which like sort of dissolves everything not as soon as it hits the like sewage container, but it dissolves it pretty quickly. So, not something obviously I'd like to rely on, and I think that smell is something I'm going to associate with that. Or like bathrooms, or you know, forever. So it's not like a pleasant smell. It's not like, ooh, you know, this is my new air freshener. It's just sort of like, it's something a lot more bearable than sewage smell. So, you know, chemical smell, sewage smell. I'm gonna go for chemicals most of the time, unless the chemical smells actually like burn you, but maybe not. Oh, a lot of other good memories, like when it started getting pretty late, we turned the lights on inside the motorhome, because it was like so dark inside. And then like for whatever reason, there was this light on like the handle near the door of a motorhome, which was like in perfect like view of a windscreen for the people driving. It was just like this really, really bright light, just for whatever reason. I think it was like smack bang in the middle of the windscreen. I don't know. I never saw it from the driver's seat. And we were like, we need to cover that up. So for whatever reason, my friend was like, the best course of action, absolutely. I got to take off my top and then wrap it around the light, which, I mean, it worked, to be perfectly honest. I thought he would be really cold, but, you know, I guess he just probably wanted an excuse to take his top off. Like, I don't know. My friends are very funny people. What else? Like some funny things which happened on the road trip. I talked about the fact that there was like a TV, and the TV stand up just made this horrible rattling noise, and we had to spend like four of the journeys just trying to like, because they gave us like these foam padding things to try and like stop the TV stand from rattling so loudly. And it wasn't until like quite late on in the trip, like we somehow got it fixed, you know, no rattling, and then it came undone, and then it like took 3 more attempts, because you don't know if it's going to be rattling or not, I suppose, until you start driving. But while you're driving, you're not meant to like stand up and stuff inside the motorhome, because, you know, that's obviously like dangerous. Not to say that I didn't here and there, but not for very long. It's obviously dangerous, because it's like, you know, if you crash, you suddenly stop, you turn, you might fall over. That would obviously be kind of bad, but, you know, in the worst case scenario, it would be terrible. I went to craft things. I don't know what hot item is. These are all quite annoying to do. I guess we'll do deep sea diving, because we haven't done that for like yonks, and maybe we'll see Pascal. But yeah, late night driving, just empty roads and empty tables. Oh, this is quite. Well, do I have any other stories on like on the road? On the road again. Maybe that's what I'll call this episode. On the road. I don't know. Not that I can really think of off the top of my head. Maybe not that I can see from just like this first trip. We had some really pretty sunsets. It was a nice thing that we were driving, I suppose, most of the time during the evenings. We always got to see the sunset. You know, pretty good view actually, surprisingly, from the motorhome. It's like you're chasing the sunset, if anything. Ain't that just some metaphorical nonsense which you love to hear about? You know, a group of young adults chasing the sunset as they follow their dreams. Join us in this soap opera every 8 p.m. on Wednesdays. Only on The View. I don't know. These are movie theatres. Jane, I don't know what I'm talking about. Yeah, and I'm just trying to think of his other things. There probably are like weird. Oh, there was one time actually we were on the road and we saw like, I think it was like a fruit truck overturned or something. Whoa, that's weird. A fruit truck overturned on like a big road or something, and we just like saw like loads of, I think it was like apples or something on the side. We were like, what on earth is going on? And then we just like kept driving, and there was just loads of fruit carts and like fruit like crates and things like that. We were just like, oh no. One, obviously a terrible waste of food and all that. Two, that's a huge thing to clean up. And three, hopefully I hope the drivers and no one was affected by it and everyone's okay. But it was just like, whoa, that's the sort of thing you kind of remember, despite that being the last thing I remembered, I suppose, on the trip. It's just tons of things like that, these small like moments from here and there. Yeah, I could talk to you about like seeing Sagrada Familia in Barcelona or seeing the flamenco show in Seville and things like that, but sometimes you got to appreciate the small moments here and there. And we're also going to go wasp hunting to try and do these things. I don't think wasps can be in Easter egg trees. I don't actually know if that's true though. But we shake it like this. I shake it like this. I shake it like that. There you go. That's how you catch a wasp. They made it a lot easier in these games, because in previous games you used to not be able to shake trees while carrying a net. So, and you didn't have a quick sort button. I'm just remembering Wild World, you had to shake a tree and you had to like run up to a different tree, do a loop-de-loop around it, and then quickly equip your net using the inventory system, because then wasps will like swing wide and go around the tree, and then you swing and you hope you catch them. Stressful times. Another thing that happened like on the trip is, for whatever reason, I can't remember which city we're in, but they had these like road signs, but in the UK the road signs are illuminated, like there's often like a light from top or like underneath, just like a lamp sort of light to illuminate it so it's visible at night time, or there'll be like reflective like cat's eyes style signs, I suppose, where you can actually see what's probably going on. But for whatever reason, I think it was near Gibraltar maybe, where they had these like illuminated signs, except for the entire thing was basically illuminated, like the entire outline of a sign was illuminated using like really bright LED strips, and they were just like really like simple like signs which could have just been like reflective and it would be good enough. Like one of them was just like, oh, it's like a zebra crossing or something, and it was just like brah, brah, like super bright, like flashing light in your face, absolutely blinding. And I'm gonna be honest, when all the lights were on, it was really difficult to see what the sign actually was. I guess if you're local, you just sort of see it and be like, oh yeah, that's a pedestrian crossing sign, because you're just sort of used to it. You're like, oh, it's blue and white. But at least I wasn't driving again, so I don't know. I mean, my friends did complain about it as well. It was just so bright. It's like you don't need to light up every single part of a sign to make it visible during nighttime. I mean, I respect it, I suppose, to a certain degree. It feels a bit wasteful to a certain degree, but I guess I'm kind of sort of missing a point if I'm just like, it's wasteful as a worst part about it. The worst part is definitely the readability of it was ironically quite bad. I'm not going to say it was worse than if it was just like, nothing. I'm pretty sure if it was nothing, that would definitely be the worst. For visibility, I suppose, at night time. But it's sort of just like you went a bit overboard. I think it was a bit like you didn't need to overcorrect that hard for like the darkness of a night. Especially because they have like cat's eyes, and a lot of the roads are kind of illuminated on the ground anyway. You know what cat's eyes are? They're like reflective strips on the ground on the side of a road to make it easier to see like the actual borders of a road, so drivers don't drive into each other during nighttime drives. How many times can I say drives in a sentence? Like 3, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. Just being on the road. It was a very pleasant experience. I'm just trying to think if any other stories come to mind. I guess I have a quick scroll, but it's a bit hard to scroll to exactly the moments we were driving. Oh, there was a lot of toll booths at one point. I think we were going to Gibraltar. We had to drive through like 5 different toll booths. And every single time I recorded a video just being, it's a toll booth, and all my friends went, woo! It was really good. Anyway, very much an anecdotal, I suppose, sort of episode today, where I'm just like telling you things like, oh, you had to be there, and then you weren't there, so obviously it probably feels a bit weird, but sorry. Anyway, if you have been watching, thank you very much. It's been Animal Crossing New Horizons. I've been Dear Darling. Likes, comments, subscription, shares, greatly appreciated. Twitter, Discord down below. Hope you can see each other again, but for now, it's our farewell. So until next time, bye-bye for now.